I relocated to Rwanda like about 2 years and 3 months ago with my husband, who's Rwandan, and my 2 boys.
My name's Corey, I'm a UK junior doctor and I'm working in the NHS at the moment, and in 6 months time I am going to be moving from the UK to Australia to start work as a doctor over there.
I could literally sit here and talk for hours about the reasons why I left the UK, but I think there is like 2 or 3 main reasons. Number one, the obvious one, is obviously the weather. Like when you're in places like Bali, the weather is pretty much good all the time. Obviously there is occasional rain, but like in the UK, I used to wake up and look out the window, and when I see it being miserable and grey, you just automatically feel less happy. And a lot of people can probably relate to this. So I used to work 40 hours per week, used to get £2,000 per month, and it just honestly feels like you're constantly working for not enough money. When you finish a shift at the end of the day, 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, you come home, you have food and you go to bed and you just rinse and repeat. Like, where is the living? And all the money that you work for literally goes on the bare minimum, like rent, your car, food. It honestly just feels like this constant cycle of like work to live, like 2 holidays off in the whole year. Like, what are you even working for? Go be on holiday, have an amazing time, and then just come back to boring, miserable England. I don't know, personally it just wasn't for me.
The UK is actually a shithole. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm looking to move out ASAP. Right now I'm out in, well, I'm from a Target, but in California, and literally I'm looking for a new place to live, because the UK is not it. It's time we got honest with ourselves. We got cost of living crisis, wages are not going up, and we changed our Prime Minister how many times now? It's just all a shambles, mate.
A year ago today, I was unhappy as fuck. I was doing pot wash part-time, living in Hereford, thinking about the stupidest little things like university, my long-term career, all of this shit that does not matter. Now I'm out here in Colombia, the happiest I've ever been.
I do not like the UK. I was born in the UK, but I have not been in the UK for longer than like a month over the past like 2 years. And do you know what? I just could never ever see myself living there ever again. Not even for the fact that the weather is terrible and it's June right now and it is raining and it is cold, but more for the fact that the people there are just so depressed. Like, everyone's so angry. I'm in Dubai right now and everyone's happy, they smile at each other. I get in the lift and we make chit chat. In the UK, it's like not like that at all. Everyone is so judgmental. So yeah, you'd have to pay me a lot of money to see me back in the UK, like living there, because I don't know how people are doing it. Honestly, I don't know why people choose to go to the UK and live in the UK. Oh, that's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
You're here living in Thailand. Why did you decide to move?
The UK's failing, the West is failing. I love Thailand. I love the people. I love the weather. I love the environment, and it's my favourite country.
I do hear that, man, and I agree with you also, man. Tell me, what do you actually do out here in Thailand?
I'm a full-time content creator. Started on TikTok back in the UK. I'm now on about 135,000 followers, and yeah, I do content creation full-time.
Raw, man. So what would you say is the biggest culture shock for you when you decided to come here to Thailand?
Trying to get used to the heat, that was a big one. Just how sort of free this place is. Biggest culture shock that I noticed here was that there's not so many rules. People are more well-behaved. There's not as much crime. People are happier. It's a spot to be.
After 12 years in the UK, this doctor has uprooted his life and moved to Australia for better work and a better life.
The waiting lists in the NHS and how the things are, it's becoming more and more difficult for doctors to provide right and adequate and safe care for the patients.
Across the UK, health workers have been walking off the job, demanding better pay and working conditions. Droves of doctors are leaving the UK, and more than 1 in 5 of them are coming to work in Australia.
The NHS is in a struggling state and has been for years, actually, because of underfunding in both services and wages. Any metric you look at, we're failing patients.
More than 1,300 medical practitioners moved from the UK to Australia in 2022. Last year, that number jumped by 67%.
They've made huge differences to rural and regional Australia, but to our workforce as a whole. And what it means, though, is that the UK system is now really struggling.
Junior doctors in the UK began striking more than a year ago, and more than 1.4 million appointments and operations were cancelled in the last 18 months because of industrial action.
Here are 5 reasons that the UK isn't the best place for us to stay and raise our family.
Start with crime. We were seeing kids 11 to 12 years old getting hold of Class A drugs. Also, the knife crime is just on the rise. It does scare us, it scares us for our kids, but there's also the behaviour and respect level. You don't see a lot of respect for authority in the UK from kids, whether it's for teachers or for the police or even for other adults.
Number 2 is the healthcare. The UK's healthcare system is the NHS, which is free of charge. Since COVID, it has been under incredible stress.
Doctor's appointments, you get one doctor's surgery, and if you want a doctor's appointment, you have to call up at 8 a.m. on the day. You may get an appointment, you may not.
If it's important.
Otherwise, it's a phone call with a nurse a lot of the time to try and prioritise the appointments that they give.
So point number 3 for us, I think, is the weather. 7 months, 8 months of the year, there's just not really sunshine. It's cold, it's miserable, it's wet. You get back from work and you just have to stay inside. It's just quite depressing. It's difficult to live that healthier lifestyle. A lot of people keep saying to me, I want to go there because I want to see snow. The UK doesn't see much snow. We get maybe a couple of days a year.
If that, sometimes not.
Before I take the kids to school, I'd have to go frost the car and scrape all the ice off, but still no snow.
Number 4 is the cost of living. Everyone knows the UK is very expensive. The average UK house price now is £356,000.
Which is around the 2 million ringgit mark.
Average rental price is around £1,200 a month.
Which is about 6,800 ringgit.
Petrol in your car is £1.48 per litre.
8 ringgit per litre, 8.5 ringgit per litre.
An average food bill would cost around £800 a month.
Family of 4, isn't it, sort of?
Yeah.
800 to £1,000. 4,500 to 5,500 ringgit per month.
If we wanted to go out for a family meal at a restaurant, 4 of us, it would cost around £100.
600 ringgit.
And the quality of food here is so much better.
So much better.
Everything in the UK now is so mass produced, nothing's fresh, it's all just artificial, pre-packaged.
Put it in a microwave.
It's so bad. So you're going out, you're spending £100 on a meal for the 4 of you, and you're getting a microwave meal.
Yeah. The 5th and final point is the culture in the UK now, especially when you're raising young girls.
Lip filler, the cheek filler, the jaw filler, Botox.
Of 16 to 20-year-old girls going out on a night out and they're wearing basically underwear. These tops that it's just a bra. I don't want to see my kids growing up feeling like that's the way that they should be treating themselves.
Why did we leave the UK for Malaysia?
First up, the weather. We swapped the unpredictable British weather for Malaysia's sunny skies. Here it's about 25 to 30 degrees all year round. Perfect for those who love warmth and sunshine.
Next, it's the cost of living in Malaysia. We enjoy a luxurious lifestyle without the hefty price tag. Everything from food to fashion is more affordable here, giving us way more for less.
Next, as Muslims, being in a Muslim majority country like Malaysia makes us feel really comfortable. We can freely practice our faith, hear the adhan echo through the streets, and find halal food everywhere. This, along with our disappointment with the UK's political climate, especially its stance on current world issues, pushed us to find a new home that aligns more with our values and perspectives.
Since selling my house in the UK to build an off-grid oasis in rural Portugal, I can honestly say the start of 2023 has been an absolute whirlwind. I couldn't have done it with the help of all my friends and also selling many of my possessions to be able to afford to do this. So when my visa got approved for residency, I took a plane and landed in Lisbon and then made my way up to my friend Quinta, which is in the central part of Portugal, and I'll be staying here until I can complete on the purchase of the land that I'm buying.
Yes, I've joined the bandwagon of leaving the UK. Nothing to do with bad vibes, I just want a fresh start. Leaving Lucky behind is definitely the hardest part of all of this. I think my major reason is just wanting a more better quality of life, and the weather, man, honestly, I need some sunshine in my blood.
Okay, I cannot believe I'm saying this, but I'm moving to Australia. For context, I'm a 26-year-old who's lived in the UK my whole life, and this time last year I thought I was going to be getting married and having kids, but that didn't go to plan. So instead I said goodbye to my friends and family, put all of my stuff into storage, left the city of Bath where I've lived my entire life, and I got on a flight to Australia completely by myself. Last year was a really tough year for me. I went through a breakup that really knocked me, and I had a miscarriage, and I thought I was going to bounce back, but I really didn't, and I just haven't found my happiness and I haven't got my spark back. So I decided to just do something I've wanted to do my entire life and move to Australia. So I got on my flight last night and I arrived in Sydney today.
You know, one thing I don't regret about leaving the UK is your work-life balance. Who can complain when every day your remote working or work from home can look like this? Honestly, I don't regret leaving behind the struggle life, the ain't got time for no one life, the stress, the anxiety, the living in a bubble lifestyle. Working in the UK, I thought as long as I have a nice office that's got nice aesthetics with 4 walls and a window to see outside, then that was all that I needed. But working from the beach, watching nature with some nice food, it just does something to your soul. I'm not sure if it's my age or just the environment that I'm in, but living in Gambia has truly helped me see that there is more to life than just working 15-hour days, stressed out in some office, trying to figure out how you're going to afford your next bill. Don't get me wrong, I still have to work, I still have to pay bills, but this next chapter of my life is called the freedom to work in peace.
I moved to Dubai 8 months ago with my husband and 2 kids, and the most asked question I get is, how did you do that? Is it good for kids? Is it good for families?
I left the UK 7 years ago today and I moved to Germany.
Reason 370 blah 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 why I love living in Oman. I've come to a book fair. Just some random men singing and dancing with some swords at a book fair. Why not? So fun! In the UK it would literally just be books.
So, we're leaving the UK and you're probably wondering why. What are the reasons why we're leaving the UK? So, I think, first of all, I think everyone can agree that things have got really expensive here and it's become harder and harder to live a decent life. And I'm under no illusion that once we get into Europe things will be any cheaper. They'll probably be slightly more expensive, but what are we getting for that money that we're paying? I mean, we prefer a hotter climate personally, and the weather's a big thing. Also, we've opted for like a slightly freer lifestyle. We moved into a caravan 2 years ago to reduce our bills and everything like that. And now we're moving into a bus. Now, if you want to live in a bus in the UK and do wild camping, that's illegal. You're not allowed to do that.
Guys, we're leaving the UK.
Food for thought, guys. Don't you think it's interesting how our parents and grandparents moved from their home countries to a foreign country to build a life for their children? But now in this generation, we are so eager and so desperate to move to another country to help secure a better life for our children. Don't you think that's interesting?
That is very interesting. I mean, the amount of people on just friends and family, social media that I see, for many reasons, are leaving the UK just to move their family for a better life.
Why will I never move back to the UK? After living in Spain for over 5 years now, every time I do go back to the UK, I get a reverse culture shock. And it isn't just about the weather, it's about the lifestyle in general. I feel like I'm such a healthier person in Spain through the food that I eat and the amount of time that I spend outdoors. Also, it's so normal to socialise during the week and not just wait for the weekends, which is something that I love about living here. Whether it's going for a drink or going for a coffee or breakfast, there's always things to do during the week and at the weekends. Also in the mornings, people who you don't even know say good morning to you, which I just think is such a nice way to start the day, and in England that would be kind of weird to do. It's kind of normal for strangers to speak to you and engage in conversations, which is so nice. I honestly don't think I'd be able to afford to live in England again. I know prices have increased everywhere, but it's so expensive now. And having this on your doorstep for a lot cheaper of a price is just a no-brainer. There's always something to do here during the week or on the weekends, and you really don't have to spend a lot of money. We usually spend our weekends having a walk around, seeing friends, going for a drink or having some tapas.
3 reasons why I don't like living in the UK. 1, the level of antisocial behaviour, whether it's going to a playground in Borough Green and finding a broken vodka bottle at the bottom of the slide, the graffiti, getting on a train between Sittingbourne and Gillingham last night and having to go past about 20 empty seats before I found one that wasn't covered in food or liquid. The level of antisocial behaviour in the UK is so high. And here's the thing, most Brits you'll meet are lovely people, friendly and respectful to others. But it's just a small minority that ruins it for everyone. You know, if you're in a room of 100 people and one of those people is a psychopath, that's a problem for everyone. So yeah, it is a small minority of Brits who ruin things for the rest of us. But I feel in the UK, that small minority is larger than in most countries I've been to. 2, in the UK, I constantly feel like I'm being ripped off. There's always a charge to park everywhere. There's always a fee on top of everything. Do you want your tickets emailed to you? That's an extra £10. Oh, nice one. What are the other options? There are no other options. And then the worst one of all, budget airlines. Apparently nowadays, in the past, they would try to sit you together with members of your family. Then they said, well, if you want to guarantee you're together, you have to pay us. Obviously, not enough people bit on that. So now they basically say, we will actively go out of our way to seat people in your group apart unless you pay us extra money. Again, I constantly feel like I'm being robbed in the UK. I never used to get that in South Korea. For example, you'd go into a baseball stadium and they would literally have convenience stores in there selling things at convenience store prices. In the UK, the attitude would be, come on, they're in an enclosed space, let's whack up the prices, there's nothing they can do. It's that attitude of monetize, and it can get a bit annoying. Number 3 isn't exactly groundbreaking stuff, but the winter weather. You know what? The UK is fantastic in the summer, not getting properly dark until 11 PM, no humidity when you get a warm day. Oh, it's lovely. But in the winter, it's so depressing.